Okay, so for this lesson, we are going to use two different properties of equality. We're going to use the addition property of equality and the subtraction property of equality. You should have written this down in your journals. But all the addition and subtraction properties are trying to tell you, look up here, if I have an equation, A equals B, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side. So if I say A and then I add something to it, I have to do the same thing to the other side. Same with subtraction. If I subtract a C from one side, I got to subtract it from the other side. So you've seen this before. This is just in general terms. So let's look at example 1. We're going to solve x minus 5 equals negative 1. So solve means I want to get the x by itself. Okay, so to get the x by itself, I need to move this minus 5. How do I move minus 5? You do the opposite, which is instead of subtract 5, we're going to add 5. Whatever I do to the left side of the equal sign, I have to do the right side of the equal sign. So negative 5 plus 5 is gone. I'm left with just the x. What is negative 1 plus 5?
It's 4.
Congratulations, you just did your first algebra equation. Woohoo!
So the thing would be 4 minus 5 equals 1?
Correct. Yeah, if you were to go check your work, you just plug in the 4 here where the x is. 4 minus 5 is the negative 1. Is that correct? Absolutely. Okay, shall we do another one? Wait till everybody has that written down. All right, the next one, we have z plus 3/2 equals 1/2. So I'm solving for z. How do I get z by itself? So whatever I do to move this, how do I move that? It's a plus 3/2, so how would I move it to the other side? Minus 3/2.
But how do you just subtract it?
I will show you. So that's gone. I'm left with z equals. All right, so if I have 1/2 minus 3/2, when you're subtracting fractions, they have to have a common denominator. Do these have a common denominator? Yes, so what's 1 minus 3?
Negative 2.
So negative 2 over 2,
And that'll equal 1.
which is negative 1. So z equals negative 1.
So do you just subtract the bottom? If the left side is...
No, you just subtract the top. When you're adding and subtracting fractions, all you do is subtract the top number, and the bottom just has to have the same common denominator.
What's the deal with the slant you put over there?
On the z,
Yeah.
I put a little slash in my z, because otherwise my z's look like 2's.
No, I'm talking about the one next to the subtraction thing.
Where?
The slant right.
Oh, I'm just canceling it out. See how this is plus and this is minus? So those cancel. So that's just it cancels out. So then I'm left with z by itself. And then I have to do the math 1/2 minus 3/2. Good question. Good question.
If the addition is, or if the subtraction is on the left side, you do addition on the right side.
Whatever you do to move this over here, you have to do it to both sides. So since we subtracted 3/2, we subtract 3/2. Because this is a plus. If this was a minus, we would add 3/2 to both sides. Good questions. These are all great questions, guys. Anybody else have a question? All right, on your own number one, put this on your paper. And make sure you show your work while we do this. Number 1 is p minus 5 equals negative 2. We're solving for the variable. So how do we get p by itself? Add 5, because we want to get the 5 out of there. So add 5 to there, add 5 to there. Negative 5 and a plus 5 cancel, so I'm left with just the p. What's negative 2 plus 5?
-1.
positive 3. Does everybody agree with Gary? I hope so, because he's correct.
How does the negative or minus 5 and plus add, or how do you cancel it out?
Because if I have a minus 5 plus 5, what do I get?
0.
So it's just gone. I mean, you could say p plus 0 if you want, but that's a waste of writing. All right, number 2, we have w plus 13.2 equals 10.4.
How do you decide which number to use?
You're always trying to get the variable, so the letter, by itself. And so then you look at what's left over in that equation and say, well, what's the opposite of that? Opposite of 13.2, positive 13.2 would be a negative 13.2. So you're just thinking opposites. So instead of adding 13.2, I'm going to subtract 13.2. Whatever I do to the left side of the equal sign, I have to do to the right side of the equal sign. So positive 13.2 and negative 13.2 is 0. So that's gone. I'm left with just the w. Now what is 10.4 minus 13.2? You're going to have a negative number.
3 point, 7 point negative 7.2.
I think it's negative 2.8. Yep, negative 2.8.
Oh yeah, it's negative 2.8.
Okay, because you have the negative number is larger. So you're going to have a negative for your answer. That makes sense? The way I do that in my head is I do 13.2 minus 10.4. And then I throw the negative in front of it.
So that's the easy.
That's the fast way to do it. You just do the bigger number minus the smaller number, but recognize that since it's the larger negative, then it's a negative answer. Okay, so W is negative 2.8. All right, number B.
But is it good to learn that way?
Yeah, it'll make it faster for you. So we have x minus 5/6 equals negative 1/6. So what's my first step?
Put it.
Getting x by itself, what do I need to do? Mm-hmm.
5.
Yep, add 5/6 here, add 5/6 here. That cancels, so I'm left with x. So then I have 1/6 plus 5/6. Do these have a common denominator?
Yes.
Good, because then I just have to add. What's 5 plus 1?
6.
So I get 6/6, which is 1.
So x would equal 1.
Correct. Now, if these didn't have a common denominator, you would have to get a common denominator first with addition and subtraction. Multiply, divide, you don't. You just multiply or divide. All right. Let's look at example 2 in your journals. It's a word problem. A company has a profit of $750 this week. This profit is $900 more than the profit last week. Which equation can be used to find P? Okay, so just listen to it and help me see if we can write this down as we go. A company has how much profit this week?
$750.
$750. This profit that we just read, 750, is, you hear that word is, what does that mean? It's an equal sign when you're doing a word problem. You hear is, that when you hear that word is, write an equal sign. So 750 is 900 more. So 900 more, so I'd say plus the profit last week. P stands for profit last week, right? Because we don't know what that is. Which equation can be used to find P? All right, so I wrote it down as we went. I have 750 this week. It is 900 more than the profit last week.
Then B,
B is the answer.
because, oh yeah.
B is the correct answer. They just put the P first. So they just rearranged the right side, which is fine.
So it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter which one's first, as long as it's on the same side of the equal sign. So the answer is B on this one. Okay, that's how you do word problems, guys. The minute you hear a number, write it down. There are other keywords that are going to give you We heard is. When you hear is, that's the equal sign. When you hear more, that means addition.
Or less than.
If you say less, that would be subtraction. Very good. All right, on your number 4, put this on your papers. A company has a profit of $120.50 today. $120.50. This profit is, so put my equal sign, $145.25 less than the profit of yesterday. Now here's the catch. This is less than the profit of yesterday. I can't say minus P because this number is less than the P. So I actually need to write 120.50 equals the profit minus 145.25 because it's less than the profit. Does that make sense to everybody on why I had to rearrange that? Because I can't say minus P here because this number is supposed to be less than the P. Right now this would say P is less than that. And we really wanted it to be P, that the number is less than. So you can't write it this way, you have to write it that way. If it says more than, it doesn't matter. You just hit plus, say add, and then whatever. But this is less than. So this would be my equation. Pardon me. Anybody have any questions on that? Let's look at example 3. All right, playing a video game. Example 3, right? The line graph that you see shows the scoring while you and your friend played the video game. Write and solve an equation to find your score after level 4. All right, so look up here at this line graph. We see level 4 is right here. And there's a difference of what? 33 points between my score and my friend's score. So, because my friend's score is here, my score is here, right? So your friend's score, what is my friend's score? Can you tell what it is? We don't know what it is like, so I'm just going to say F. My friend's score is how many points?
33.
Less than mine, right? So my score and then minus 33 gives me my friend's score. You see that? Now, can we see what my score is? Oh, no, but we can see my friend's score. It's at what?
4 negative.
Well, 4 is the level. What's the negative 8? That would be the score, wouldn't it? So we can put a negative 8 here where my friend's score is. Okay, because the F stands for my friend, M stands for my score, right? My friend's score is at 4, negative 8. So level 4, and then the score is negative 8. So now can I solve for my score? Yeah, how do I get the M by itself?
You
Add what? Add 33, because I want the M to be by itself. So I'm going to add 33 to both sides.
So it could be in either side.
Yes, so you can move it to either side. So moving it, I get the M over here. What is 33 plus a negative 8?
It's going to be minus 8. 25.
Very good. So I scored 25. He had a negative 8. Who's winning?
33.
Yeah, I'm winning because my score is a positive 25. He's got a negative 8.
So the other guy's going to be.
So I'm winning. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, on your number 5, it's dealing with this, so I'm just going to keep this screen open. In example 3, if you have negative 12 points after level 1, your score is 27 points less than your friend's score. So what's your friend's score? So In example 3, you have a negative 12 after level 1. So my score was negative 12 in this case, right? And your score is 27 points less than your friend's score. Okay. Let me rewrite this better. Okay, so now we're looking here. See this level 1? And
Wait, what's level 1?
right here
Oh, okay.
on the graph. And we know that I'm at negative 12, so let's see here. Let's just use our original equation. My friend, my score, but there's not a difference of 33 here. What's the difference here? That we do have to write it differently then, because it tells us there's a difference. It says your score is 27 points less than your friend's score. So my score is 27 points less than my friend's score. You see how I made that equation?
Yes.
My score is 27 less than my friend's score. Now, what is my score? It tells us.
12, like,
Negative 12, so I can just replace that negative 12 here. Now, can I solve for my friend's score?
Yeah.
By doing what?
Adding the 25?
27. Yep, add the 27.
That'll be just 0.
Yep, so my friend's score is, what's 27 minus 12?
15.
Very good. So my friend's score is 15 points.
And then our score?
Was negative 12. They told us at the beginning. So my score was negative 12. My friend's score was 15, so he's beating me in after level 1. It's okay, I won after level 4. Okay, so this is all you're doing, guys. You're arranging equations and solving for variables. So you're doing IXL S1. S is in Sam.